Hello everybody, this lesson is on division of a polynomial by a monomial. For this lesson though, you need to know some of the previous things that we've learned, like exponent rules for negative and rational and general exponents. So the first thing that I'm going to ask you in this lesson is, what is a polynomial and what is a monomial, and what is the difference between the two? So first, a polynomial usually has more than one term in it, right? So I'm just going to write more than one term in the expression. And remember, an expression is just a bunch of algebraic terms together. So some examples would be 2x squared plus 3, or 5x to the 5 plus 2x to the 4 plus 3. Or something even complicated, you could have like x to the 6 minus 18xy to the 4 plus 9y cubed plus 6. Okay? But these are all polynomials because there are two or more terms in the expression. And the other thing is that they are being usually here added or subtracted. There is no multiplication or division going on in a polynomial. So if we go off on that, same thing for a monomial. So mono is your monomial. Mono is your key word here, meaning one. So an expression with, you guessed it, only one term only. Okay, so examples, you could see 5a, negative 3, 9y squared. These are all examples, etc., etc. Okay, so now we're going to learn how to divide a polynomial by a monomial. Okay, and the general rule that I'm going to write out for you is when dividing a polynomial by a monomial, so basically what I showed you at the top versus what I showed you at the bottom, so dividing something like this over this, split the polynomial, the polynomial's terms, and divide each by the monomial. Now, what am I talking about? What am I talking about when I say something like this? Well, obviously, the best way to understand is by checking out some examples, okay? So, as you can see up here, I have, for sure, a polynomial divided by a monomial. So there are two terms here, 1, 2, and here there's a monomial. So in the last slide I said divide each term in the polynomial by a monomial. So the first thing I usually ask people is, how many terms are in the polynomial? So here there's 1, and although you can't see it because here there's 1, and here there's 2. Okay, so all you're going to do is split them up. So I'm going to get 6x minus 9, and I'm going to divide each of these by the monomial. And then I'm going to solve. So 6x divided by 3 is 2x, minus 9 divided by 3 is 3. And that's the answer, okay? The answer doesn't need to be one full number. It can be an expression. Okay, so this here is an expression, and that is the answer. Down here, again, I have how many terms in my polynomial? I have 1 and I have 2, right? So all I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, let me split this up, 4a squared plus 6a, by dividing each term by the monomial 2a in the bottom, and then I solve. So 4a squared divided by 2a, well, 4 divided by 2 is 2, and this is where your exponent rules come in. I have a squared over here divided by a to the 1. So you subtract your exponents. So 2 minus 1 is 1, so all I'm left with is just a, plus 6 divided by 2 is 3. And over here I'm going to obviously get rid of my a's, because 1 minus 1 is 0, and a to the 0 is 1, so I am just left simply with this as an answer. And that's it. So just to go back on our first slide, remember, okay, when dividing a polynomial by a monomial, split the polynomial's terms, and divide each here by the monomial. And that's it for division of a polynomial by a monomial.